everyone, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. As you can see, I do not have Coco with me here today. I have Gizmo. So this is my other cat, who's very much trying not to look at the camera. You gonna look? She's not a very cuddly cat, so she doesn't very often let you sort of pick her up for snuggles. But I did manage to catnap her today, and to introduce you all. So yes, this is Gizmo. She's the same age as Coco. We got them at the same time as kittens. As you can see, she is a lot smaller than Coco, but yes, still very much a baby. You know, like Coco is, but just a lighter baby. So, but I'm gonna let her go now because she's gonna go outside because it's a lovely day. And I've actually got the door open to the catio, so I'm hoping outside isn't going to be too noisy today. Makes it look like I've got a ball pouch there. Okay, so she's leave the door. There we go. So yeah, so she's gone outside now to make the most of the sun. But yeah, I still don't. I'm not sure where Coco is. I know last time she was sort of hiding, and then as soon as I started my video, she appeared somewhere. She hasn't this time, so maybe she's still asleep on my bed or something. Maybe she's having a lazy Sunday today. Is it Sunday today? I don't even know if it's Sunday. Could be Friday. Not the point. Anyway, welcome to my Flosstube. So I'm Zoe, my pronouns are she, her, and this is my Flosstube channel. So where I'm going to talk about all my stitching, some of my cross stitch that I've done this month. I have worked a little bit on my crochet sort of blanket, still putting away a little bit of that, but obviously I've only done like a little bit, so I haven't got it in here, so I will show that when it's completely finished. But yeah, in terms of other things, I haven't done too much. I haven't really done much knitting. I think I've done one test piece, but I can't show that until the pattern's published, so I'll show that obviously when I'm allowed to. But yeah, not really done too much this month. But so in theory, this video shouldn't be too long. Although I do know it seems the less I have to show you, the more talking I seem to do, and that the video still ends up the same amount of, the same length, no matter how much I show you. So, obviously, you know how long this video is. At the minute, I don't know how long I'm going to be talking for. But anyway, so yes, this is my Flosstube, and let's get started. Anyway, but so it's a bit belated, but this is my February sort of recap update of sort of all my stitching that I did last month. We are a bit late because we've just had our kitchen refitted, refurbished, redone, and so all of the new kitchen basically was here in my stitching spot whilst they were kind of installing it. So I was downgraded to the lounge, and it was a bit too busy to be recording, so that's why I'm late. But I did get some stitching done. I actually did better. So I don't know if any of you remember, if you've been with me sort of long enough, but last February I actually didn't do any stitching at all, but I did do some this February. It was quite an interesting one. So I was looking back over sort of my last year's what's it called, a year oh gosh, what was the journal called that had a stitching book of days? See, I knew it would come to me. But then I was also looking through some of my previous notebooks, and February tends to be a really rough month for me sort of every year, which I'm really hoping that dog barking isn't too loud. So I might pull this door to a little bit. But yeah, so it did mean this February, when I was struggling, I could just be like, it's just February, like I'll be fine in a couple of weeks, sort of thing, which was nice. So yeah, so I still managed to do some stitching, managed to do my whip go, I managed to do some of my red Christmas. I did work on a couple of other little projects. I didn't get to my Whip Properly board this month, and that was the only thing I didn't manage to get to. But you know, I met my sort of important goals. You know, I wanted to do my whip go, and I want to keep up with my sort of year project. So, and I did those. So, what should we start with? Let's start with my whip go. So this month, Jessie Marie, so is the mother of whip go. I don't know how better to say it, but she invented whip go, I think, and so she does the rolls every month. So watch her video. So for February, she rolled us number 7 and number 8. So which on my mini whip go board were both the same. So they were both my Animal Kingdom. So I did expect it to happen at some point. I know I've got 3 different projects on there, but I did figure at some point I will get the same project twice in a month. I didn't expect that to happen in February, but you know, it had to happen sometimes. So they were both my Animal Kingdoms. That meant I had to do 8,000 stitches this month, which was sort of the majority of my stitching time. So I will pop in a photo. So this one is too big for me to hang up. It lives in this bag behind here. It's too heavy for me to hold up. So I will pop in pictures of sort of where I started, and then I think it'll be a couple of pictures of where I finished, because again, with it being sort of I work in the diagonals, and with the diagonals being so long now, I'm sort of working along a bit, rolling it up, working along a bit, rolling it up, you know. So I don't know if I can crop the 2 pictures together like I did with last month's. I think they're too far apart, sort of thing. It would make the picture a bit too long, you know, I don't know. But either way, there's the pictures. So that was actually the bulk of my stitching. I never counted up. Let's see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 of my stitching days were on this one, the Animal Kingdom, and I only stitched for 7, 8, 19 of the days. So yeah, pretty much half of my stitching was on this one project. But you know, I got it done. I hit my goal. I got to 8,004 stitches, and it was added up. So you know, that was a good one. I did that. Now my next goal is, where'd it go? That's hiding. Is my Red Christmas. So now I'm doing the green version of this, but the chart is by Jardin Privé. So this is the red version and the green version on the back. As you can see, I don't have a project bag for this yet. I know I said I would, but I have not. So I also have not serged the edges yet. I know I also said I was going to do that, and I did not do that either. So maybe next month, or this month, because we're in March now. So maybe this month I'll get done. But anyway, I'll pop up a photo of where it was last month, or sort of where I started, you know, so where I got to in January. And this is my progress for February. So I went down onto the next page. I haven't got a, where's my, let's hold it up against this. Right. One day I'll be organised. There we go. So I believe it was from sort of this motif down was what I did. So from there down was February's. So yeah, so I basically worked on the next page going down. So this chart, it's across 6 pages, but the bottom 2 pages are only kind of about half. So the other page is I think about 100, and this one is only about 60 down here. So this page is going to be a bit smaller, but also these pages, I've only done half a page, but I have gone kind of over a bit. So it does mean that these 2 pages are also going to be a bit smaller as well. So that means this month, no matter which page I pick, it's not quite going to be a full page. So hopefully I will be able to get it sort of done a bit faster, because this was 3,107 stitches. So this is quite a lot of work here, quite a lot of patterns going along. You see, I've not quite finished this one here, so I've just got the little squiggly line going along. A couple of changes I made to this section. Oh gosh, let's try not to pull all the ends out. Where are we? Let's scrunch this up a little bit. So where's the, I'll see if I can, I might have to insert a photo because I don't know how well it would come up on the, oh my gosh, come on. There we go, how well it'll come up on the screen. But there was a few motifs in here that are repeated quite often that are quite familiar. So you've got, it's in the middle of that, then there's that one there, and then it's repeated again over in the middle of this design, and again once more down here. Now that motif is it's not a snowflake, it's a star. It's the Bethlehem star. So it's a one of the traditional symbols that's stitched into trees in Palestine. So there's two different iterations of the motif. If I can find a couple of other pictures, I will pop them in here. So you've got the sun star and the moon star, and the sun star has a bit more ornamentation on it. It's a bit bigger because the sun's bigger, I suppose, and the moon star has slightly less ornamentation on, which is what I think 3 of these would be sort of more, I suppose would be classed as the moon star, and one of them would be a sun star because it has the extras on. But because of that, I thought I would change some of the words. So this stitch, I don't even know if it's showing up well enough. So it has Christmas written in several different languages. Merry Christmas. Then I believe we have Bon Natal, Joyous Noel. I can't see any more looking at that. There's about 6 on here, I know. God Jul. But anyway, so I thought I would change one of those to actually say Merry Christmas in Palestinian. I couldn't quite fit in, so I basically moved out, is it Feliz Navidad? So this one here, I swapped that one out because that was where I was stitching February's bit. And I swapped it out for, so I think I couldn't quite fit in sort of Merry Christmas, but this is Christmas as far as I remember my friend saying that was what it was. She said, yeah, I think because Merry Christmas has more words on the end and I couldn't fit those in. So yeah, so this is, it's Eid Imalad, and I've popped that in there instead of Feliz Navidad. And yes, and I think that was the only change I made. Oh no, there was a couple of other little changes, but only where it looks like a mistake on the pattern, if that makes sense. So like where's one that you guys might be able to see? So if you look under the words there, you've got this border that's kind of sort of crosses going all the way along, and a couple of the crosses like aren't complete. So each cross is made up of like what 12 stitches, but some are missing parts, and I didn't know why they were missing bits, and it kind of threw me a bit, so I filled those in. Also, one of these borders going down is uneven, so like in between each square there's either 1 space or sometimes 2. To be fair, that was an accidental fix because and an accidental change because yeah, I didn't pay attention to that. I just sort of looked at the first one and was like, oh yeah, there's 2 spaces between each one, I'll just stitch that, and stitched about 3 or 4 and then was like, oh, there wasn't supposed to be 2 spaces between each one. Too late. I wasn't going to unpick it again. So obviously once I reach the bottom, that might not end sort of quite at the end of a square, sort of like it does there, but you know, we'll work it out when we get there. So but yeah, I think that was the only sort of change that I made. I don't think I did anything else on this one, but yes, so there we go. So not sure which way I'm going to go this month, so whether I'll keep going down to get to the bottom or whether I'll go across. I suppose I'll have a look in the pattern and see if there's a particular motif that I want to get to and go from there. So you'll have to wait and see what I decide. Let's pop that out the way as well. There we go. So this one I'm stitching, it's on a 40 count linen or even weave. I can't remember now. This is what I got. I think it's an even weave. Looks pretty even. So a 40 count even weave, and I'm doing this one strand of DMC over 2 threads in the called for sort of green colourway. It's on the back of the pattern. But yes. So yes, that was Red Christmas. It was 5, just 5, not 10. 5 days of stitching on that one. But yeah, to get the 3,107 stitches. So then there was a sort of Zoom meetup with Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery for the Arctic Animals sale, and it was sort of at a more you know, a more sociable time for me. Obviously they're in America, so sometimes the times they have their calls end up being at sort of 3-4 a.m. for me here. So I think this one started at about 8 p.m, 7 p.m, 8 p.m, that kind of time. So I thought, yeah, I'll join in on that one. And so I had to pick up my Arctic Animals sal in its not project bag, as you can see. But I picked this one up to work on while we're on the Zoom call. So I haven't actually worked on this since I started it back in, I think it was September. But you know, I thought, right, let's get it out and let's see if we can finish the fox. So I believe I'd started the Arctic fox, so I will add in a picture of where it started, where I started, and then this is where I got to, and I put in 246 stitches on her. So yeah, so I managed to finish this little buddy and then sort of work along sort of some of the ground here. So I've got a walrus over here that's sitting on this ground in the snow. But yeah, so this is on a piece of Coffee Crafts fabric, Megan's fabric. It's a 40 count linen, and I'm doing it sort of one strand over one strand over 2, with raw broderie threads from Lindsay at Blushing Pink Stitches, hence the project bag. So, but yes, okay, so then that took us up to when our when they started on our kitchen, which was it's about the 19th, 20th, or was it a bit before that? I can't remember. I didn't write down in my diary when they actually started on the kitchen. I can just see when I stopped stitching, because it was very difficult to stitch not in my stitchy spot, partly because I then sort of didn't really have all of my stuff to stitch with. You know, I didn't have my lamp, or I didn't have my stand, or because I was now on the sofa, I was at the wrong height, so it was a bit uncomfortable. But also it was sort of hard to stitch in a room with everyone else around. There was always a lot more going on, or having to sort of stop and do things, or go into the kitchen to answer a question that the builder had, you know, that sort of thing. So the majority of the rest of the month I didn't actually spend stitching, which was hard. So I'd sort of get up and think, right, I want to stitch so and so, and then kind of never managed to get to it, if that makes sense. I think it was being in a different sort of state of mind, not having my sort of stitchy spot where I sit, and then when I sit in this chair I do my stitching, because I was somewhere else, like there was always other stuff to be doing. So yeah, I think it just seemed a bit out of sync. But anyway, I did do a couple more. I worked on a couple more projects. So I remembered that I'd said there was a oh sorry, I'd push open the door a bit for the cat. Belushi Stitches, Joe, and Emma, maybe, I think, and is it Darcy, Stitchman Darcy, is he getting in on this as well? I can't remember. you know what, I honestly can't remember if it was this one or if I watched him stitching on something else that I also wanted to say. No, I'm sure it's this one. You know, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say it's this one, and then if I'm wrong, you can all correct me in the comments, because I'm sure it's this. So this is what happens when you don't write notes. When you say the infamous, you know, I don't need to write that down. I'll remember that. But anyway, so by the end of February, I'd finally remembered that they were doing a sale for this year to try and get the Lola Crow greenhouse, so Greenhouse of Oddities sale complete. And I was like, oh yeah, I was going to join in on that. So I thought, let's go and dig out my greenhouse. Because I knew I was still working on the frame, and I thought that's quite nice and easy stitching. The actual frame of the greenhouse itself is all in black, so I thought that's one colour. It's sort of one thread that I've got to work on. I haven't got too many changes. Okay, I can do that. So I went and dug it out, and this is where I started. Oh, I've got a whole bunch of loose threads in here because that's how organised I am. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh gosh. Right. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave that bit stuck there. Right. So this is where I've got to. My book is not big enough on the greenhouse sale. So as you can see, the border is now finished. So yeah, that is the whole border, the whole frame. So I'd already sort of finished this section, so it was just, I was just sort of coming up here. So I finished all that, finished on the bottom. I did go back in and add the beaks to the birds. So they've all got one little sort of backstitch line that just gives that point of their beak. That I'd forgotten because I'm working this pattern from Pattern Keeper, and Pattern Keeper doesn't show at the backstitch. So I'd forgotten to check on the pattern whether there was any backstitch. So I went back and checked, and yeah, filled that in. So also in the border we've got, okay, I missed his eye. I'm pretty sure I still need one little backstitch line for his eye, but we have a little mole here. There he is. And a little frog there. There we go. So I did just go and double check. But yeah, so this is, so we've got the American crow, which are sort of these birds up here. Then this is a European mole. And this is a golden dart frog. Yes, golden dart frog, or golden poison frog. And in the PDF that you got with the pattern, there's sort of some, you know, information about them. And yeah, so this is the golden dart frog is one of the most poisonous animals on earth. The formic acid from the ants and termites it eats are converted into a neurotoxic batrachotoxin stored in its skin, and one frog has enough poison to kill up to 20 people. So yes, so very pretty colour, but no touching, I'm afraid. But yes, so this was the frame all finished, which is kind of technically January's section. But I put in 2,218 stitches to get January finished. Now February's section was the original kind of first planting, which is sort of a tree here and a couple of other little plants, I believe, hence the, I did get the thread out ready to start the tree, but then I didn't start it yet, didn't have time. But that, I believe that's only about 500 stitches for February. So, and then March's section, I believe, was only about 700 stitches as well. So I think kind of once you got the background in, the rest of the stitching was sort of a lot more manageable. So hopefully, you know, I can make some time sort of each month to try and sort of catch up on that, because it would be nice to have this one done for the end of the year, because then I can work on the aquarium. And if any of you follow Lola Crow, you will also know that this year she is bringing out her next sal, which is an aviary. So we'll have all three then. But yes, so if you're following. On her you'll have seen that because there's a sneak peek. You'll have to go to her Instagram page to see that. But yes, I believe that, so I'm putting everything on my lap and I'm running out of lap, so I'm trying to like decant things off. Let's put you back over here. Right, there we go. Okay, right, sorted. Okay, and then that took us up to pretty much the last day of the month. So that was on the 27th. I finished that up, and then by then I'd also got my email through from a new sal. So this is Juliet's sal. It's not a sal. I wouldn't call it a sal. What would I call it? It's like a group project. Maybe that's the right word. I probably should have looked on her post to remember what she called it and then just call it whatever she said, but I did not do that. So group project is what we're going with. Okay, so it's Juliet over at, oh gosh, I do know how to pronounce this. I'm sure it's French. Is it Poignet d'Amour? Poignet d'Amour? I'll add it at the bottom. Also because, you know, with it not being English, you probably can't tell how to spell it from what I've said there. But some of you might have sort of seen some of the group projects before that she's done. If I can find one of the videos of it, I will put one in. If I'm allowed to do that, I will add one in here. If I'm not allowed to do that, then you might have to go to her Facebook, her Instagram or Facebook and look at it yourself. But basically, it is do you remember those old flip books you had from school where you'd flip and there'd be a new picture on each page, and as you flipped, the character or thing that you were looking at would kind of move because you were going through the images. Basically, they've done the exact same thing but using cross stitch, and then sort of done it digitally where they load all the images in order, and obviously sort of digitally it sort of flicks through each page. So this year's project, or this month's project, includes a star. So it started off, this is the cover page that was sent, and then if you wanted to get involved, you sort of was like, yeah, I want to get involved, sort of thing. And there is certain criteria to fill. You know, you have to do it it has to be a certain size on a certain kind of fabric. Everyone has to use the same number of threads. Everyone has to use the same colours. The photos have to be taken at a certain scale so that she can kind of get them all merged together, those sort of things. And I think she said there was going to be about 200, 210 at the minute she's got. She said there was a lot of people applying, she could add, you know, do some more, but I think that was where she was kind of capping it, was about the 200-ish mark. And I believe I am slide 106, so mine's going to appear about halfway. Now the deadline for this isn't until kind of June, July, so I'm not expecting her to be releasing the finished items till about August. So you won't get to see the whole thing till then, but hopefully once it's out I can show you all, and hopefully we won't have all forgotten about it by the time we get to August, but that's another matter. Anyway, here is my segment. Now, like I said, it starts with a star, and obviously this star must be doing a little dance, because at some point this star is going to turn around. So this was my slide with my little star's little bottom. So but yeah, there we go. So I got a couple of little sort of sparkles, a couple of smaller stars with love hearts for eyes, and then my little star's bum. So yes, that was very, very fun to stitch. But yeah, so and then this is the required frame, required count, required size, you know, ready. I just need to pop a little bit of padding in the back here just so you can't see through it when I take the picture. And now I have to work out what the background to my photo is going to be. So yeah, so I'm going to be having to play around, take a few different pictures to send off, and then we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so that's all finished. I just took a thread around the back and basically did a running stitch all around. So I framed it, I sort of snipped the fabric so it was about 1 inch wide. I did get a little bit close at the bottom. There's about 1 inch excess, and then just a running stitch, literally just in the length of thread that I had still on my needle. I just used that and tied a knot, and that's it. As I do want to put just a layer of wadding sort of just inside, and then I'm just probably back it with a piece of card or something, just to sort of sit in there, just to finish the back off when I get round to that. But yes, so that's my little I've called it Twinkle in my book, but it's, you know, just so I know. But that was 597 stitches. So yeah, quite a small one. It only took me a couple of days to stitch on, so it wasn't too bad. Must admit it was hard work using sort of 3 strands on the 14 count Ada. So I do know I have another project using 3 strands on 14 count, and that is my Kingdom of Books, and I find that one quite hard work as well. So I was glad it was only a small piece, put it that way. But yes, and that was the end of my stitching. So in terms of my numbers, I will add up. So sometimes I speak so fast that noise just comes out instead of an actual sentence, and I do apologise for that. Okay, so I did add up my numbers for this month, and this month I stitched 14,101 stitches. So a bit less than last month. Last month I got nearly 18,000. So, you know, I did okay on this month. So going back to my what have I called it? Like my sort of start allowance, new start allowance. I don't know if that's what I did call it, but that's what I'm going to call it now. Where I sort of half the number of stitches I've done, and then I can cash those stitches in for any new starts. So obviously half of 14,100 was 7,051 stitches. And I also had some rolled over from last month, so I had about 950 left over from last month. And then off that I took the 597 that I cashed in for my little new start. But to roll forward on to next month, I still have 7,410 stitches left to cash in for a new start, which is quite handy because later on this month I am attending the Essex Needles retreat, and I do need to get my my button gear because I have a new start planned, but I need to order the threads from it, and I was hoping to message someone that, you know, about the threads and say if they're also going, can they bring the threads for me? And I haven't done that, and it's in about like 2 weeks, so that's going to be a job for this week, is to get her message and be like, pretty please, can you bring these threads for me? So I will apologise in advance, Lindsay, for that message that I'm going to send. But yes, so hopefully I've not looked back at that pattern, so I can't remember how many stitches it is. I'm pretty sure it's more than 7,000, so I might have to sort of go into debt a little bit sort of with my stitch counts before I'm allowed, you know, so it might take another month of stitching to kind of earn back those stitches, but you know, we'll keep our numbers, and we'll keep track so that I'm trying to break even, so we'll do that. But yeah, so that was all my stitching for February. So yeah, so not too bad, not as much as I'd have hoped, but you know, still got a decent amount done. Obviously we're past we're into the first week of March now, the first full week, and I think I've just started on my March's whip go. So Jessie rolled the next lot of whip go, and can I remember the numbers she rolled? Maybe not. Let's see, can I look at my thing and remember? Where are we going? I think it was 9 and 24. Either way, I know the 2 projects that were rolled, so whether it was those numbers or not. Obviously if you're playing along, please go and watch Jessie, but don't trust me, like, don't trust what I numbers are. Go watch her video and she will give you the correct numbers to be following for that. But I was glad that it was my bath time Haid and my 3 baby dragons, because yeah, I must admit, after, you know, putting in a whole month's work on that, I was dreading picking that again this month, so I was hoping it would be either one or both, but at least it would be something that was different, and it was. So I got my 2 other projects to work on. So I have worked a little bit on bath time so far this week, not as much as I would have hoped. My goal is to do about 2,000 stitches on each per week, because then 2,000 times 4 is the 8,000 that I need each month. I think I've done about 300 so far, I'm already a week in. So yeah, so I'm going to do a bit more of that today. Obviously that's my main goal. Also onto my Red Christmas, like I said, I'm going to pick one of those smaller pages. This month I've got 3 to choose from, so I'm going to have a look on my on the picture, see if there's any motifs that I want to get to. If not, I'm just going to roll a dice and pick you know, 1 to 3 sort of thing from a dice roll, because you all know how good I am at making decisions. So yes, that's those 2 projects. Hopefully I will be able to get back to my greenhouse this month and finish at least February's tree, if not also start March's tree. I'm quite happy being sticking a month behind everyone else, I think, if I can just if I can just do the February tree, which was about 500-ish, about 500, 600 stitches just for that one, I would be happy with that, because I'm sure later on in the year, if I have more stitching time, I can catch up then. You know, I might even take it to the retreat and then I can catch up then, but I'm not sure. I haven't picked out my retreat projects yet. I know one that I will be taking is going to be my new start that I've already mentioned, but I haven't quite made any decisions on anything else yet. I suppose it depends how these next 2 weeks go with my goals. But yes, I'm really hoping you can't hear our washing machine. Our washing machine is in a slightly different place to where it used to be, and now it makes a really weird noise. It sounds almost like the TARDIS when it does its spin cycle, and it's like, I think I'm going to have to end it here because the spin gets faster and faster and this noise gets louder and louder, so I'm going to have to wrap up quite quickly. Yes, so that's my plan for this month. And yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to come to you sort of more towards the end of the month rather than partway through April. But yes, really loving the sunshine. So yes, hopefully the weather is nice wherever you are. And thank you very much for watching. So I have a little bit of shopping to show you, a little gift as well that I got, sort of a belated birthday present. But obviously if you don't want to see that, then that's fine. So I will catch you next time. But yes, so let me decant some of the stuff. Right, haha. Shopping. Oh, making a bit of a mess. Right, yes, I hid it in this drawer so that in this really loud packaging. Okay, we'll do the quiet piece first, and then I'll open all the packets and then we can do the loud stuff. So this was a belated birthday present. So my sister had ordered this for me. I'd sent her a picture saying, this is so cute, you should buy me this for my birthday, sort of thing. And she did, but it took a little while to get here. So I got this sort of halfway through February. And if any of you have watched, oh gosh, The Romantic Tangle, it will come to me, yes, The Romantic Tangle, her videos. She actually had this book and she did a book through, and it was from her that I saw this. But yeah, so you may have already seen this book. But this is Victorian House Cats to Knit. It is a sort of a modern book, but it's done in the style of sort of a Victorian era book. So let's see if I can find just some pictures. Where have we got? Some of the pictures are quite small, but yeah, so lots of different cats, all knitted. So you've got a garden cat, you've got like a pantry cat, parlour cat, there's a cat with some kittens. What else? There's a naughty cat climbing the drawers. What else? Oh yes, a very, very prim and proper cat. So, oh, there we go. I was like, when I put the book up, I can't actually see what you can see in the screen, which doesn't help. So lots of different patterns. You've got a ginger stripe tabby there as well. But yes, so the instructions are very detailed. You know, each of these patterns covers sort of 10 pages and a little loaf cat. And there's probably about 10-12 different patterns in here, so quite a few. Oh, one using boucle yarn, so a Persian fluffy one. But yes, so lots of different ways of lots of different ways of positioning them, you know, lots of different patterns. Little kitchen cat. But yeah, and then it also goes into all the instructions on how to pose them, how, you know, where to stuff, where to understuff, overstuff, how to do the shaping, colour changes, things like that. So each of these is very detailed, so I'm looking forward to getting into one of those. I'm just going to have to raid my stash for some kind of cat coloured yarn. I do have one ball of yarn that I know that I have, and it's called Calico, and it's called Calico because it's kind of those calico-y kind of cat colours. So I'm going to have to dig that out and double check that the colour matches what's in my memory. But yes, so I might have to start one of these like that as well. But yes, so maybe some knitted kitties in the future. You know, when I've finished all the other projects that I've got on the go. I will get to it eventually. Okay, so I'm going to pause here while I take all these packets out, and then I can show you it and then put everything back in its packet. Okay. Okay, so I have subscribed to the new Country Cottage Needleworks sale. So this is the monthly mini village. So I believe I'm a couple of months behind. I've not planning on stitching these sort of with any speed, so it doesn't really bother me. But I have January and February there. So they're the ones I've got so far. And I'm ordering these from Megan at Coffee Crafts Fabrics. So I've gone for a 40 count sort of linen. So this is kind of the colour that she's dyed up for the sale. So it's like a quite nice tea dye effect, very mottled. Sort of, you know, goes quite well with the background. And then each month I get some charms or some other little bits. So January I got a snowman charm. I might be able to get him fitted on here on the finish, but I'm not too sure in terms of scale how small it'll stitch up compared to the size of the charm. But also haven't decided how I'm going to actually finish these yet. So, you know, what I'll be doing with them. I suppose it also depends how big they turn out when they're finished, as to what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to do each as a little mini finish or sort of stitch them together. I don't know. But anyway, and then in February we got a pack of 5 little heart charms that could replace some of the hearts on the washing line. But also, as sort of part of the sale, I got all the fancy threads from Megan as well. So yeah, so lots of different colours here. I've got them in a bit of a weird order, so I've just put them in like which ones I've got the most of. So obviously this white at the back, you get five different strands of the bamboo, and then it goes down to all these different colours here. It's got lovely pink, reds, blues, all different colours, some yellows, oranges, navies. But yeah, so these are all classic Colourworks threads. So yeah, looking forward to working with some of those. But yeah, these feel a bit, I don't know, classic Colourworks feel a bit drier than DMC. I don't know, like a bit more rough in my hands. I don't know if that's the dye that classic Colourworks use or what, but you know, I've worked with those threads before, so it should be fine. But yes, so, and like I said, so I've got all the individual pieces, so I'll have sort of all 12 individually, rather than all together as one big piece. But yes, and then also Megan, I shopped a little bit of her recent sort of fabric super, I think it was like a Super Sunday, but I think she did it on Friday instead for some reason, or Saturday, either way. I bought a couple of fabrics. I did wait. I think I waited till right at the last minute, so I was already about 2 or 3 days later when I actually went on. And I thought, right, if I'll pick out the count that I want, and if it's still remaining, then I will have it. And yeah, so I did manage to get three new pieces myself. So I got this lovely piece here, which I just love the mottling on this one. So it's very neutral. But yes, so got some yellows, browns, creams. But yes, looking forward to finding something for that one. Oh, let's try and fold these up nicely. But then I also saw this one. So that was a 28 linen. This is a 40 linen, and this, look at that. It's a lot more sort of pink. I don't know how better to say it. It's a lot brighter than it showed on the camera. So sort of this colour is pretty much what this is like, and then this section is even darker. So yeah, very vibrant, sort of purples, blacks, pinks, sort of very nebulous. But yes, so couldn't resist that one. I've got some kind of woodcut style pieces that I think might go nice on that. So just using sort of a black, you know, I think they're charted just to be done sort of black on like a beige, but to do black on that pink I think might look quite fun. And then lastly I picked up this is a opal linen in a 36 count, and this is like sort of blueberry pancakes, or blueberry muffins, but yeah, so sort of bits of yellow, but then lots of sort of bluey purples on this one. And I thought this one would look really good for a sort of fairy. And I have got a couple of sort of fancy lady sort of fairies, but this one might look really cool for one of those. But yes, so just 3. So I you know, I was a good girl. I didn't go too bad, just those 3. And I kind of have ideas for all of them, so you know, we're doing okay. Before the retreat in a couple of weeks, because Kate at Sparkly's is going to be there, I thought what I want to do is get out all of my kind of fabrics and put them in kind of colour shades orders, if that makes sense, a bit like a colour wheel, just so I can see where if I'm missing any spots and where I've got lots of similar colours. So I don't want to get too carried away thinking, oh, this is a really pretty colour, I'll buy it. I need to get home and find that I literally have about, you know, 3 or 4 other pieces that are kind of all that same sort of fabric. Because I know I have done that before. I've gone to pick up one and I've picked out like 3 or 4 different kind of bluey purples, and I'm like, okay, I probably don't need to buy any more bluey purple fabric. So I thought, I'll get some of those out just to see what I've got. Yeah, and just see if there's any gaps that I need to fill before I can go and buy anything else from her. So, but yes, and last thing I got from Megan was just the house. So we did buy the houses last year as a sale, but this was the extra. So yeah, this was the Tudor style house. So I did ask her to pop this in as well. I just need to buy the fancy set. I think there's only one Gast on this, the rest are DMCs, and it's Garden Gate is all it calls for. So I'm gonna have to pick up a Garden Gate at some point. But yeah, but it's just that one. So, and I'm not planning on stitching this one first, so I can pick up, you know, the fancy floss whenever I get around to going somewhere that has fancy flosses. You know, I can wait until I've got a few that I want and then order them together. But yes, I believe that is everything to show you. I haven't really been watching much Flosstube, so I haven't got sort of any new sort of recommendations or anything. I haven't seen any new people recently. I know I have added quite a few whip parades onto my kind of whip parade playlist that I need to watch through, but I try and catch up with everyone's new Flosstubes, and then once I'm all caught up, I then go back onto my whip parade playlist and play through some of the whip parades, because I'm trying not to get too far behind. I think there's about 30 videos on my like to be watched, to be caught up with list. But yeah, so hopefully now that I'm kind of back out here in my stitchy spot, where it's nice and quiet and there's sort of no one else around, I can play the Flosstubes without kind of bugging all the other people around me. So put those on, get some stitching done. But yeah, that's my plan for today. And of course, enjoy the sunshine that we're having. I will be putting the blinds all back up after I finished recording this, because I did have to pull all the blinds down to block the sun out, because it was just causing sort of weird lines to come across all of the stitching that I was holding up. So I had to shut all of the sun out. So I'm going to open the blinds again, let some of the sunshine in, make the most of this sunny day, because living in, you know, England, there is no guarantee to how long any sun will ever last. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I will see you all soon. So I love you lots. Bye.